Today, we're digging into Homebound, a film that got a 9-minute standing ovation at Cannes and became India's official Oscar entry. But honestly, the most powerful story here isn't the one you see on screen. Nope, it's the one that involves a New York Times article, a massive controversy, and a question that kind of challenges the whole idea of filmmaking. It gets complicated.
So, first off, you gotta know who was in this film's corner. When a name like Martin Scorsese gets attached to a movie, you pay attention. And he didn't just give it a thumbs up. He actually mentored the director, Neeraj Ghaywan, to make sure its raw, realist vision stayed intact. I mean, that's a cosign that basically screams, this is the real deal.
And yeah, that vision definitely paid off. A 9-minute standing ovation at Cannes? That's huge. It got picked as India's Oscar entry and landed a near-perfect 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's without a doubt one of the most important Indian films in years. But what's really amazing is that all of this praise, all this prestige, it's all built on a story that's incredibly simple and deeply human.
So at its core, the film is about these two childhood friends, Chandan and Shoaib. One is Dalit, from a community that's been at the very bottom of India's caste system, and the other is Muslim. And they have this one shared dream, to become police officers. For them, that uniform isn't just a job, it's everything. It's their symbol of dignity, their one shot at escaping the social boxes they've been put in their whole lives.
Okay, so here's where things get really interesting. Homebound is actually inspired by a true story, a piece of journalism from the New York Times about the gut-wrenching journey of migrant workers during India's COVID-19 lockdown. And how the filmmakers adapted that true story, well, that's the key to the whole movie.
Now, this is the single most important creative choice the filmmakers made. See, in real life, the men were textile workers, and their struggle was literally about physical survival. The film changes them into aspiring police constables. That one little tweak shifts the entire story, from a fight to survive to a fight for dignity.
And look, this wasn't just some random change they pulled out of a hat. It gets right to the film's central idea, the search for what's called institutional dignity. Chandan and Shoaib aren't just trying to get a paycheck. They believe that if they can become part of the system, the very system that's historically held people like them down, then the authority of that uniform will finally protect them from prejudice.
And this just shows you how impossible their dream really is. The film drops this staggering statistic. 2.5 million people apply for only 3,500 police jobs. Let that sink in. That's about one job for every 700 people who apply. This isn't just about being good enough, it's about trying to beat odds that are just impossibly stacked against you.
What the film does so brilliantly is use these two friends to explore these parallel worlds of discrimination. For Chandan, the Dalit character, it's about this deep, internalized shame of the caste system. He's so proud he actually avoids using the reservation quotas, a form of affirmative action designed to help him. And for Shoaib, the Muslim character, it's a different kind of prejudice. It's that constant feeling of being an outsider, of having your loyalty questioned at every turn.
So the big question is, how does the movie make you feel all of this exhaustion without just spelling it out for you? The director, Neeraj Ghaywan, doesn't rely on big dramatic speeches. Instead, he uses a very specific cinematic style to pull you deep into their quiet daily grind.
Well, there's this phrase that critics came up with that just nails it, the aesthetic of exhaustion. This is not a bright, colorful movie. The entire look, the entire feel is designed to make you feel the physical and emotional weariness of these characters as they try to navigate a system that just seems built to grind them into dust.
And Ghaywan pulls this off in 3 really clever ways. First, the visuals. The color palette is all muted, filled with dusty browns and grays. Second, the camera work. It lingers on these intimate close-ups of worn-out feet, of dirt caked on skin, of beads of sweat, really grounding you in their physical effort. And finally, the sound. Or really, the lack of sound. The score is minimal, often just using silence or the low hum of the city to make you feel the emotional weight.
But just when you think you've got the film all figured out, the story pulls its final, most ironic punch. And this one didn't even happen on screen. The very themes of exploitation and systemic indifference that the movie critiques so powerfully started to play out in its own real-world production.
First, you have this huge disconnect. While Homebound was being celebrated at festivals all over the globe, back home in India, it struggled at the box office. The producer even said that this kind of financial failure makes it incredibly hard to get similar, important films made in the future. I mean, what a cruel irony for a movie about a broken system.
And the controversy didn't stop there. A writer filed a plagiarism complaint. And then, in the most painful twist, it was reported that the family of Amrit Kumar, the real person whose life inspired the movie, received a payment of just 10,000 rupees. That's about $120. This just lit a fire under a debate that echoed the film's own themes. Who gets to profit from the stories of the marginalized?
And that's what we're left with, right? This central paradox of Homebound. It's a brilliant, beautiful, empathetic piece of art that shines a light on systemic injustice. But when the very creation of that art seems to mirror the exploitation it's condemning, it forces all of us to ask a really tough question. Who truly owns a story of suffering? And what, if anything, is owed to the people who actually lived it?